Hey y'all. Um, I am going to do something I've never done before, which is I'm going to show you a notebook that I just finished. It's my diary that I keep. Um, I was start. This is going to be long and probably kind of nerdy, but people ask me about my diary all the time, so I thought I'd actually just take you through a spin of it. Um, I've got some of the diary you'll notice is post-it noted off because it is a diary, so there is some stuff that's private that I won't show you. But yeah, so let me show you what my diaries look like. The front of the diary, I always do some goofy stickers or something. So I actually got this at Laguna Gloria, the Austin Contemporary Museum here in Austin, and this just says, "We all just try and be nice to each other," which is something I say to my kids all the time. Um, I start every diary with a guardian spirit. And so I picked Greta Garbo for staying inside for this one. I started this on November 7th and finished it on January 8th. It takes me about 2 months to fill one of these books. It's a brand called Zequins. People always ask me. They aren't the best notebooks I've ever used, but I just kind of have gotten used to them. They're flexible, so I like them. The other goofy thing is I weigh the notebook before I get started, and then I weigh it out because it's just fun and dumb, something I do. I'll link to a video of that later. Um, so this is just what it looks like. It's a blind contour drawing, and the thing wanted to note about this notebook is that I actually did most of it with a brush pen. Um, this is just something that I've gotten from Linda Berry. I'm super influenced by Linda Berry, so I used a brush pen for this one. You'll notice as we go through, the pages will get more inky. We'll talk about that later, but for a while I was all worried that the ink would bleed, but then later I don't get worried about it. So this is kind of what it looks like. I do a lot of drawing along with my entries. I do a lot of these maps. If you look up mind map on my site, you'll see that. Um, but there's a lot of writing, like there's a lot of drawing, but there's a lot of writing too. Um, and sometimes my kids will draw something wonderful, drawing by my son Jules, and so I'll like tape that in the diary with some washi tape. Sometimes I have a dream and I draw it. This is my wife and one of the dreams I had. This is one of my lifted type collages that I did. Grifters out of Austin. This is a blind contour drawing of Gary Panter from his Instagram. So yeah, I always do the date at the top, and then I usually write what time it is, and usually what day it is, but not on that entry. So it's really like a mix of drawing and comics and stuff like that. This is just me working through a conversation I had with my son. Sometimes I draw things I saw out in the yard when I was using the telescope. This is another one of those lifted type collages. People always ask me how these are done, but I feel like if you see this page, you'll probably figure it out pretty quickly. This is a Linda Berry exercise, squiggles. Then this is actually, you'll see a bunch of birds in the next couple of pages. Somebody asked me to do a preface for their book. So I was actually working through the ideas for the preface in my diary, which I do sometimes. She has a great quote by Cyan, the composer. This is a Linda Berry spiral I do. She's like, whenever you're stuck, you start and you do a tight spiral and just until you get ideas. This is my friend Clive Thompson made an app where you can do this, but I was doing this. It's just like doing 90-degree turns with drawing and doodling. But yeah, this is still that preface I was working on. Linda Berry again. And then this is a comic I did with my son Jules. And so I'll do like a comic for him in my diary, and then I'll scan it and like make it super black and white and turn it into a zine. And this is, you might recognize this since you're all newsletter subscribers. This is a zine I did about intermissions in movies, and I'll actually do it in the diary, and then I'll scan it and fix it later. I find that comics is like a really great medium for capturing funny things that kids say. So I do a lot of comics. Here's another lifted type collage. You can see. Here's another one of those maps that I love to do, little mind maps when I'm not really sure what's going on. Diary, notes to myself. Here's another Jules Troid comic that I drew for Jules, with Jules. And here's this was another newsletter that I worked out in the diary first, that I made into a zine later. You can see it goes for a long time. Another part of that Jules Troid comic. More diary. More maps. This is just a really powerful thing, I think, doing these maps when you're trying to work something out. Sometimes if I cut something from a piece of writing that I've printed out and had my wife edit, you can see here, Meg said try it without the time machine stuff. I'll cut it out and post it in the diary so I can come back to it later. So it's not killing your darlings, it's saving them somewhere, relocating them. These are some more of my collages, which you've probably seen. And I do these right in the diary. They're done with transparent tape, so eventually they'll deteriorate and fall apart, but I don't really care. I just like doing them in the diary. More diary. Me and Meg walking around. And then my owl came back, so there's going to be a lot of diary about him pretty soon. More Jules Troid comics. And again, this is all done with the brush pen, Pentel. Here's another lifted type collage. You can see the tape, how shiny it is. More coconut. Blind drawings of coconut made without looking at the paper. So this is more like a sketchbook, I guess. And Coco left his box. Who knows where he went? Another lifted type collage here. This is a quote from Ovid that I love to copy quotes when I really want to like internalize them. So this quote goes for 3 pages, and I just copy it really slowly with the brush. So there. It's another lifted type collage. You can see more diary. Drawing of Jules, my kid. This is I like to copy Jules's drawings because he's such a good artist, so I'll copy his drawings into my diary when I'm not working on anything else. More comics. Drawings. My kids got really into Owly for a while, so we were practicing drawing Owly. This is like a really drawing heavy page. This is sometimes I draw memes that I see on Twitter. So this is Scrooge saying, "You boy, what variant is this?" Sometimes when I want Coconut to come back, I'll draw him. This is this was a zine, a Catch a Wave zine that I worked out in the diary first. If you go back and look at that zine, you can see how I altered this page. Here's the cover drawing. Another map. Ringo from the Beatles documentary. This almost became a zine about farts and creativity, but I decided against it. Sometimes I'll do a poem on the typewriter, and then I'll paste it in here. This is headlines in order of appearance when you search who owns at NewYorkTimes.com. Just goofy junk. More diary. Comics. Comics are just the best way to capture things that kids say. It's so cool. This was actually a palindrome day, which was kind of fun. More diary. You know, a lot of my diary is like working out really bad feelings, you know. Oh, this is cool. This is these were some lecture notes I took from Lauren Groff's lecture on Matrix. This is a drawing of the lead actress from The Great. I made look like a man. My friend Wendy McNaughton has a great draw together podcast that she does. That's audio, and they're audio exercises that you draw while you listen to the podcast. So that's from that. And then this is right around the time I decided I'm really into medieval manuscripts. And so I was like, I want my diary to look like a medieval manuscript. So I started doing margins with the text in the middle. And so you'll see like how everything gets like much darker here. This is a great book I read called Meander, Spiral, and Explode. They're diagrams that I copied out of their like narrative shapes. Just notes and stuff. More diary. Lots of plague diary and whatnot. Margin drawings. I drew this old Lipton iced tea commercial that's stuck in my brain all the time. More margins. Stuff. Just diary, you know. And then this is actually another one of those zines. This is the Abyss and the Gulp zine that I worked out in the diary first. You might recognize that. I like to copy poems on the typewriter too. There's something about typing them that I like, so I can see how the poem is laid out rather than like copying them by hand. Here's another collage. One of my tape quilts. You can see. More diary. I love this collage. This is a picture of Beethoven. I drew a Batman cowl on him. And this is some Batman. I love drawing Batman on people in the New York Times book review. Oh, and this is one of my Peanuts remixes. I like to cut up Peanuts comics. We have one of those page a day calendars, and I cut them up and make collages out of them. More diary, drawing, margins. I love doing that. So like when I don't know what to write, I'll work on the margins. And that gives me time to think about what I want to write. More comics for the kids. Christmas. I love to. This is a copy of a painting of Saint Francis that I made it myself, and I'm kicking a squirrel and coconuts up in the box. I love copying paintings and then putting like myself or my family members in the paintings. This was a joke that John Cleese has told about that his wife likes, so I drew it as a comic. And this is actually some of my kids' schoolwork that I put into a collage. Here's another one of my collages. I'll give you an idea of the scale of those things. Here's another tape collage. You can see more Batman cows, more diary. I like to write things that my watch does because I feel like Apple Watches are so goofy. This is some notes on the solstice because I'm into that. Drawing Omicron stuff. More collages. You can see there. Try to get it to not shine. More diary. And this is cute. This is a note my son Jules left for Santa. So I stick stuff like that in the diary. Another copied poem, D.H. Lawrence. This is something I wrote for my wife. We just had our 15th anniversary. Another collage. I love this one. This was like one of the last ones I made for the year. Drawings, diary. I saw this guy in the New York Times. He's a Santa Claus that does weddings. And he had all this marriage advice, so I collected some of the marriage advice we've gotten over the years. Not that much, actually. These are some more collages. Try to get them so you can see them without the glare. Comics. Diary. My poor friend Sam used a word that I didn't like in an article he wrote, and so I diaried about for 2 pages and sent it to him because that's what. And it says right down here, why is he like this? He is a writer, poor man. It's true. We're cursed. Here's some more collages, year-end collages. I think these are the last collages I made of the year, actually. Me writing about the Times Square ball. New Year's resolutions. Ha. Already not done. More diary. Then the new year. I don't start a new book. I just keep going like until the diary is used up. So I don't start a new notebook on the new year. More diary. Yeah, I curse a lot in my diary. Sometimes I draw funny videos I see online. This is a dart player that I saw. Diary. Oh, and then if my kids are always working on their math, and so I like write about math stuff I figured out, really dumb stuff that I missed in school. Speaking of dumb, I didn't know Twelfth Night was a thing and not just a title of a Shakespeare play I haven't read. It's a drawing of David Berman. I got really into him at the end of the year, re-listening to his stuff. You probably saw that in another blog post. And then weirdly, the year ended on I was trying to write a country song for my friend who was lost somebody, so I was writing a song about it. Another lifted type collage. And then this is funny. I took some Lego instructions that came from my kids' Lego sets, and I tried to make a collage out of that. More collage is. And then I always end this is just my public address, so don't worry about this. It's just my P.O. box on the site. And then I love The Mandalorian. I'm late to The Mandalorian, but I put that back in there. And then I found this in the New Yorker. It was about a guy who kept a diary, and it says, "The journal is the work. I still find it captivating to think of the pages slowly piling up, a tomb of paper." And so I usually put something in the back that sort of sums things up, or is kind of a part that, kind of answers the guardian spirits in the end. And then that's it. That's the end of the diary. So, and then you just get another notebook and start a new one when it's finished, and add it to the stack.